Okay, so hi everyone. Hope you enjoy the event. So welcome to our session as the Builder Community Foundation of Web3 Growth in Southeast Asia. So I'm Shenna from the CoinDesk Indonesia, and I'm going to be your moderator. So for today's discussion, we have an amazing lineup of speakers ready to dive into the world of the Web3 and blockchain industry and the development in the Southeast Asia. So please welcome Chase Barker from Solana, Gabriel Yang from ARC, Zane Nguyen from Ancient 8, Walter Lee from BNB Chain, and Carl Finchu from Impossible Finance. Please take a seat.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming. Thank you guys for...
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
guys.
afternoon.
Good morning.
GM.
Okay, so before we begin, let's hear the brief introductions from each speaker. So maybe you can start.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Chase Barker. I am head of developer ecosystem at Solana Foundation. Most recently, spending a lot of time focused on sort of developer community growth, and the most recently here in Southeast Asia, spending a lot of time in Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and spending some time in Thailand more recently, just to sort of like get a gauge on what these what's happening in these different areas. So I actually got married in Bangkok. My wife is Thai American. She's sitting right here. So we come here pretty regularly. So it's nice to be able to sort of be in Bangkok talking about Web3 with everybody.
Oh.
Yeah, hi everyone. Gabriel. I basically make a living working for ARC. ARC is a token-gated / NFT-gated community members platform, mostly focused on Asia. We've got members mostly scattered around, 30% in Singapore, and everybody else, Vietnam, Thailand, Korea, a couple of people in the US, Europe as well. Currently about 840. We specialize in bringing people who actually have a vested interest, people who are working in the crypto space, such as Kelvin, Zane, a couple of living examples of that. Find a way to expand resources, knowledge, and everything. Fun fact, I used to live in Bangkok as well. It's always great to have an excuse to be back. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Zane here. I'm a co-founder and core contributor of Action 8. We're building Ethereum Layer 2 for gaming. We co-build with Game Studio. We build growth tool for Game Studio to go to market. My background is that I joined crypto in 2016, starting building a media business first, and then running venture capital. We invest and also incubate a lot of team coming out from Southeast Asia. So yeah, very happy to be in this panel about Southeast Asia.
Zane is also the founder of GM Vietnam, by the way.
Lovely.
Nice. All right, hi everyone. I'm Walter. I'm from business development at BNB Chain with a key focus in gaming. So just to introduce BNB Chain a little bit, so it consists of leading blockchains like BSC, BNB Smart Chain, our layer 1, and also our layer 2 OPBNB using the optimistic rod. We have a third chain as well, Greenfield, which is a decentralized data storage blockchain. So all these chains come together as BNB Chain. So pleasure to be here sharing with everyone.
Hey guys, really happy to be on a very relevant panel. I think Chase will be doing a meetup at our office tomorrow for more of the Solana community side of things. I'm a proud NFT community member of ARC. Impossible is an investor in Ancient 8 as well. Been along for the ride and seeing a lot of this cool stuff that's happening in Vietnam as well. And I'm also ex-Binance, predating this current smart chain back when there was a BNB not smart chain that was a Cosmos-based chain way back.
Any Binance tattoo we should know about?
Sadly, no. But now working on Impossible Finance, we're a decentralized incubator, working early stage projects and trying to support and build alongside a lot of wonderful builders like this today.
Okay, thank you all for those introductions. And let's jump straight into the topics. So first, we're going to talk about cultivating a thriving Web3 builder community in Southeast Asia. So, Chase, how do we go about fostering a vibrant Web3 community in this region?
Yeah, so like I said, I've spent quite a bit of time here. Solana Foundation actually has these groups called super teams, which we consider miniature Solana foundations. They're sort of like bottoms-up sort of growth communities. And I think really just to keep it pretty short so everybody else has some time to talk is like throwing money into a region is the worst way for something to sort of just succeed and hope that it works. It's sort of like trying to align incentives, finding out what, like, instead of just looking this holistically at what is Southeast Asia, what is this specific country, what are their strengths, what are they interested in, and trying to find those people, give them opportunities through bounties and different sorts of grants programs, and actually bring them into a fostered community where they feel like they're part of something and they can continue to grow. Like, one of the things is the low-hanging fruit for everybody is universities. One of the bigger challenges is getting some sort of mid-career sort of engineer to leave their cushy Web2 job where they're making a good salary, supporting their family, and getting them into there. So like finding ways to sort of get more startups happening and opening up more opportunities for the builders in Southeast Asia. So like just simply saying, hey, come do a boot camp and build on this X blockchain doesn't necessarily work. It's like, what's the opportunity? What's the incentives? But also like, who's there to support me? And again, like the super teams that we currently have in Vietnam, Malaysia, and Philippines have been doing a great job of that. All these groups have a touch point. So just, it's about finding out what's most important in these communities, and then finding ways to enable it, connect, and incentivize that.
Okay, nice. Oh, Gabriel, do you have something to add?
No, I think he covered it very eloquently already. I'm very, very simplistic on it. Motivation for Southeast Asia growth. You have got the super teams. I will break it down even further. Make money, right? Anybody, if you go back to the Web2 startup world, if you think about startup weekends way back in the day, or even like Angel Hack way back in the day, why do people join these hackathons, right? Besides for free flow, Red Bull, and everything like that, it's also the opportunity.
Swag.
Yeah, swag. Sorry, always forget. Swag's always the most important thing. But the other important thing is that, like it or not, it's about making money. If there's an opportunity to make money, especially if you're in Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, right? At the end of the day, is that you would leave your cushy job in Web2, whether you're working for Google with the free yoga and everything. At the end of the day, why do you do that? You do that because there's a money-making opportunity, right? There's an opportunity for generational wealth. It doesn't work for everybody. Same for every other industry, whether you're an actor, a footballer, or a stripper. But at the end of the day, it's just gonna, there's a stripper shit. At the end of the day, right, it's about money-making opportunity. That's what it is, right? And I think what the beauty of crypto is giving money-making opportunities to this part of the world that probably didn't exist in previous industries before. But I don't know what the three of them have to say. Actually, Vietnam, what do you think?
I think like South Asia is the right community and region for Web3, just because we have young population first. I think like for the builder community to grow, first of all, the investor and the like retail community has to grow as well. I still remember the day when we first joined crypto, like all the people just say, hey, like we're here for the tech, we're here for the technology, we don't talk about price, stuff like that. I don't see those people here anymore in like this market.
Maybe they make money and retired already, that's why they know.
But yeah, like we don't see them anymore, like even the company shut down. So like it has to be really realistic, just like you mentioned. And for a person to build something that work in Web3, they have to understand the market, they have to understand the user, and so that's why they need to be the user and the investor first. So yeah, South Asia is the right market for Web3. We have like really young people. We see more like founder who are still studying like university, and like some of them even surprised me, especially Solana. I talked to like a few founders, so Solana, they was like 19, 20, something like that, and they build like crazy shit to me.
Yeah, I was an engineer before switching to DevRel because I watched these 12-year-olds that were about to steal my job, and I just had to find something else that I was good at before that happened. The unlocked potential in Southeast Asia in terms of like engineering talent is like incredible. And again, it just boils down to one thing: what's the opportunity? And it doesn't have to be today or tomorrow, but like there's small bits of incentives you can do with sort of bounties and grants until that person reaches a stage where they can found a company or join a top company.
Correct. And I think it's also about like, it's up to all of us to then build the support system around it. You talk about super teams. I think Impossible's got a thing. Walter, you've got obviously the BNB stuff. And then you've got, GM Vietnam, you've got Kairos and everything else. And obviously A8 as well for us at ARC. I think it's about then what's a support system. It's very easy to, like a bunch of 12-year-olds sitting around like, hey, this crypto thing is probably going to make me money. I should build a game, for example, right? But like, where do I start? Who do I talk to? Who do I page, right?
It's that network for
Yeah.
sure.
I think just to add on, like you guys covered many points. So like for businesses to grow in Web3 side, it's between the interactions between users and developers. So I think this angle, C definitely has it covered where, Vietnam has a lot of developers and Singapore as well, like as a financial hub, bringing Web2 finance to Web3. All these are key areas of growth that we can work on and what BNB Chain is also interested in. And user base, needless to say, like countries like Indonesia, Philippines. In the first place, coming from gaming, the last bull run was, led by XC in a way, like Web3 gaming. So we can see the power of Vietnam developing the game and then Philippines playing the game. So we have the whole thing. So in line with like how regulations is improving in this area, I'm confident that, C, it'll be a key part of Asia and you'll see year-on-year growth on Web3 adoption and so on. So yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
as the one that listed Axie Backup Finance, I think it's really amazing
Flex.
the amount of growth that we've seen in Southeast Asia. In terms of talent, I was lucky enough also to build up, as Gabe said, a lot of folks here in Thailand. So we now have folks in 6 Southeast Asia countries, doubling down on our focus in this region as well.
I think another thing to add just very quickly as well is, and I think we were discussing just now at the VIP lounge when we were sitting down there before Kelvin came, is that when you look at Southeast Asia, it's not just what each country does and we compete against each other, but like Walter actually brings a very good point, right? Where the entire Southeast Asia ecosystem, 13 different countries, we all have a part to play in that collective ecosystem. Whether is it like capital, from Singapore, obviously the safe regulatory environment, boring city, expensive alcohol, everything like that. But like, you provide everything else. Bangkok becomes a cheap place, to be in, right? Where there's enough business people, and then, you've got your users, Philippines, Indonesia, etc., etc., etc. That actually happens and everything. Yeah, nobody talks about Brunei.
Yeah, capital, builders, creators, community, and
Everything within a 2-hour radius, actually, if you think about it. Everything within a 2-hour radius. 3.5 for Philippines, but more or less there.
Yeah, I believe in every nation in Southeast Asia already have their role, their own rules. Exactly. So I'm gonna move to the next topic. So talking about Southeast Asia is not far from the regional challenges in every regulation in every nations. We have like in Indonesia, somehow we have strict regulations, but in other countries there are no regulation at all. So it's kind of confusing for the industry players. So what do you guys think about what's the challenges in each regions, and what's the, on the other hand, do you have any idea about how's the regulatory landscape that evolved, that developed? So what do you guys think about the struggles, and what do you think that that nations that have the regulation that's really supporting the crypto and Web3 industries?
So a bit of a disclaimer, I used to be working in a central bank in Singapore.
Boo.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, it was 2021. It sounded like a fun thing to do, right? On a serious note, the problem isn't with the regulatory landscape, if I may say so. I think the problem which we have is whether the regulators actually understand what they're regulating. If there's anybody in regulations like a Thai SEC, I'm very sorry for saying this, but like I think there is 2 parts to this. I think first is the understanding of what exactly needs to be regulated. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing is appreciation about what all of us are doing and everything, right? Generally speaking, and I'm not just saying regulators, but the general perception, especially even among MNCs, enterprises, is that it's very easy to fall back on what the main news is, right? You talk about FTX, you talk about Luna, right? But there's a lot of other people that is doing good stuff. There's a lot of us that's doing good shit, all right? And there's a lot of us doing random shit as well, right? But there is a lack of understanding and therefore a lack of appreciation. So I don't think it's a regulatory challenges. I think tech in general, whether is it AI, whether is it e-commerce or anything that came before us, we are not the first innovation in technology space. The problem here is that when will the regulations actually come to understand and appreciate what some of us are doing. And unfortunately, sometimes maybe we don't help ourselves. Going back to FTX, Luna and everything and 3AC that's happened in Singapore, sometimes we don't help ourselves. That's a fact, right? And the Lamborghini doesn't help as well. But my point is that sometimes we need that understanding and appreciation first, and then that comes next.
Yeah, I believe that you have to understand it first before you regulate the things.
I mean, you're talking about people trying to regulate this space that doesn't even know how to use a Phantom wallet or a MetaMask, right? Like, who doesn't even know what the hell a gas fee is?
Yeah, and I think like coming from a perspective of like the West, like it's even like hard enough to figure it out throughout Southeast Asia, like being and living in Southeast Asia. So like groups that want to invest into Southeast Asia in the West, imagine them trying to also navigate that same sort of like landscape. So like if I had my ultimate sort of, the thing that I would want the most would be able to help connect the West and the East, like the talent from the East with like some of these other guys who really want to get involved in Southeast Asia, but like the landscape is just so different from country to country that it's just it's very unclear like how to get started. And that's obviously, again, coming from like a perspective that I have like from where I live. So I feel like maybe some of these other guys have dealt with exactly what that's the challenges that come along with that.
I guess as an American-born kid that knew nothing about Asia and got lucky enough to join Binance straight out of uni, I think I am one of such folks that wanted to see this bridge happen sooner rather than later, right? Because I think for me, I think a lot of the pace at which people do things, I think I literally joined the ARC community the day after, or like I got invited by Gabe right after my panel at GM Vietnam, right? So we saw three.
We're giving Zane too much credit. Like
from just one conference last year, right? So I think, there's a lot of lay of the land that is always hard to navigate for foreigners in any place. And I think one thing I'm really happy about with Southeast Asia and all the countries I've gone to visit is that a lot of people have been super welcoming across the board. And I think that's a huge benefit for us in such a nascent space. We're talking about a new narrative every new week or a new meme coin every week, but at the same time, I think it's the right place to be able to capture a lot of the audience and the collaborations that we need to make this space stronger.
Yeah, I think it's not all that gloomy. Like, just to add some light to this thing, I do think, like you say, when it's a matter of time. Like, education to the regulators take time, and I believe they are also very involved right now. So, if you open this up to like a country, it involves like general users as well. So there will be new people who are completely new coming to the space. So, definitely, it takes time for everything to go through, and every country has its own flavor of regulation. So, but what is nice and positive is like you can see, for example, in Singapore, where I'm from, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, they are very involved in working with different blockchain projects to understand and then see how they can build the right regulatory framework for the country. And then Indonesia, if I recall correctly, like you have a state-owned exchange soon, that kind of thing. So different countries have like their own flavor of regulations. Like definitely how they regulate in US and China will be different. So, but eventually, I think everyone understand, like you say, education, right? As this blockchain industry grows, we understand that no one can stop Bitcoin, right? Unless you have a quantum computer 50 years in the future. You can't stop that, or EMP, worldwide EMP. So it is something that it remains to stay, and so you will have to leverage and integrate this technology into everyday lives. So how to do it takes time. Like it's going to take a long time, but I think year on year there will be progress.
Yeah, I think one reason for regulation to take longer is that most of the South Asia countries still developing country, and most of the time we will learn from the developed country in terms of like regulation. So like I don't know about that country, but like for Vietnam we learn about like big country like China or like US, like see what they do first, and then we will follow mostly. But for the big country to actually action about Web3 or crypto or blockchain, they have a bigger like risk to take. So that it even take longer for them to make decision. And as a result, like follow like country inside Asia, it's also take longer as well. But yeah, I really don't see that like a challenge for us in here. I think one of the biggest challenge I see right now, as I was investing before and I'm building right now. I think like we might be losing good talent in South Asia. I mean, like not losing to somewhere else, but losing to company that outside Asia. We have young people. We have like fast learning people. We have talent that can speak good English, for example. That's an advantage in Vietnam for you to speak good English, for you to work for like non-Vietnamese company having a higher salary. And we're losing our like talent. I think like not only Vietnam, like Malaysia also have the brain drain problem as well. I think like as a startup here, we not only like, we have to compete with the bigger company for talent.
Are you losing talent to other Web3 companies that are paying higher within the local region, or are you losing them back to their Web2 suit jobs?
I think mostly Web3, and I do see a trend recently where more foundation. I don't know about the country yet, but more foundation coming to Vietnam and outsourcing some stuff to Vietnamese developer or dev shop, for example, the Explorer or things like that to the Vietnamese dev shop. And I think another reason is that because like we don't know how to pitch our own product. We grow up not using the good product, not using the good UI UX product. That's why we can code, but we cannot really like know how to pitch our own product. And I think that's one of the biggest challenge for like South Asia startup as well. As like Gab, thanks Gab and Kevin for giving me credit about GM Vietnam. But the goal for us to organize GM Vietnam is that we want to connect the local and the global player together so that they can speak and have the same like panel like this to basically bridge the gap between like global and local player and builders. I think one of the things that we are focusing right now, one niche, one group of builders that can help to bridge the gap between global and local is that the third culture people. So we see some founder growing up and like had the education in the US, something like that, coming back to Vietnam, coming to South Asia, starting hiring, building a team here. And, they are the one that speak for the voice of South Asia and their own country here. And because they learn, they study, and they grow up in the US or in the Western countries, that's why they kind of catch the vibe, and they can speak for their own product, they can speak for their own country. And they are the one that we are that's why recently we really focusing on the third culture founder that are in Vietnam and South Asia recently. We invest more and we have them more.
Guys, don't get us wrong. There's a lot of challenges in Southeast Asia. That's why it's fun. And that's why challenges are fun, right? And at the same time, because there are these challenges, therefore there's opportunities, no offense, compared to the US, for example, right? And that's why there's a lot of opportunities to grow things.
Just have gun violence.
What?
Just have gun violence.
Oh yeah, we have gun violence and a lot of other things, the birthplace of pornography, which is great. But like the other thing as well is like, look, Southeast Asia is just great, right? There's opportunity here. There's challenges, right? Unfortunately, like Bangkok, the weather is fucking hot this week and everything. But I think there's a lot of opportunities here because of the challenges in place as well.
Cool. Yeah. Despite the challenges, we can all agree that the Southeast Asia is a potential market for the Web3. And
I don't think it's potential actually. I think it's now. I think it's now because if not, we won't be based here, right? Kevin will still be in the US, right? So Chase as well, right? I think it's now, right? There's no people talk about potential all these years. I disagree with it. It's now, right? Like 100%, right? If not, like what the fuck are we all here, all right? Straight up. So that's the thing. If not, I'll migrate to Abu Dhabi or something like that, all right? But that's why it's here. I don't think it's potential. I think it's up to us to realize that potential, and looking at how far all of us have progressed, we're slowly realizing that potential.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the success stories. So from the local projects to global impact. So maybe Gabriel or Zane, do you have anything to say about the success story from the local projects?
As in like Southeast Asia or just Singapore or
Southeast Asia, or you can do anything.
I mean, success, we've got plenty, right? I mean, you've got some very, very household names. XE is definitely one that comes to mind.
Yeah. For me, like one of the shining stars of the Solana ecosystem is Jupiter Exchange, fully based out of they're global, but like this team was sort of formed in Malaysia, and they're like one of the top like 5 dexes and multiple different
And they're game changers. They changed the game.
Yeah, so Jupiter is sort of like a huge, like, and I want to make a comment about this because it was sort of related to our community growing thing, is one thing that we've noticed. If you go into a market, whatever chain you are, and you have one really successful team, that just inspires all the younger builders around them to be like, that can be me. So I think that's also one impactful thing. Every market needs one successful team, and then all of a sudden, then 1 year, 12 months into the future, you will see all these other smaller teams that just go to them for inspiration, mentorship, support, and then it just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah, I think from the like BNB chain side of ecosystem, from developers' point of view, it doesn't matter which region it's from. It's about the product, because the product, being Web3 is definitely a global reach. So for example, like in games, maybe like Combo, Layer 2 on BSC, or like Playbucks, a product in Thailand. Like if the product is good, then globally it will be used, and you gain from there. And like for DeFi side of things, trend chess, for example, like so for developers, it's not so much where you are. It's just where you're based, and maybe it affects the overheads. That's about it. Which overheads wise, Southeast Asia is also one of the best place to like operate your team in. So I think it boils down to like if you're a developer in C, it doesn't matter. What matters is more of like the users, like the regulations that constrains the users in different countries whether they can use the product or not. But your product, you're already in Web3, so you definitely should like market it globally. So no worries if your country is like the regulations are not caught up for the users to use, but other areas are able to. So products, you just focus on the product and market it globally, and that will like bring growth in C, through your product.
Yeah, I would add on to that of highlighting some of the multinational teams and distributed teams, as you mentioned as well. In Solana right away, I think of both Backpack and Zeta as having some of their team in Asia, even if they weren't born here. And I think that's part of what Gabs has been saying about all of the happening now part of people already moving over here.
Yeah, we're starting to see a massive sort of exodus of a lot of teams coming out into these regions. I mean, Backpack's in Japan, but like Zeta's in Singapore, and all these teams is like this going back, like kind of tying it into the regulation of Southeast Asia question. If those regulations don't move forward, people are going to go to places where it does, because they're already leaving the US. So they're making a decision, where do I want to go? And like Japan is one of those places, hopefully Southeast Asia, because I mean, personally, hopefully I'm going to be here in the next couple of years full time. We still have, me and my wife still have details to discuss about that. But anyways, I would love to see more people come to Southeast Asia and start their businesses and leveraging the again, insane amount of talent that exists here, and taking it all global. Like if you spend too much time with your own sort of like groups and cultures, like you sort of have a very narrow view of things. But if we can sort of tie all these groups together, then that just grows the pie for everybody.
Yeah, but I also think that not everybody has that opportunity and as blessed as you, where you could literally spend like, I'm going to spend a month in Thailand, right? Just getting deep, meeting people, connecting the dots and everything like that. I think the one thing that if you really want to embrace Southeast Asia is that you got to do this little experiment, right? Like you can't just come to like Token 2049 in Singapore for 1 week and like, oh my God, Asia's amazing. No, Marina Bay Sands is amazing. And so is F1, right? It's not Asia. It's a terrible example of it, right? But like you really have to embrace. Go to Jakarta, go to Bandung, for example, right? Go to Vietnam, right? Go to Hanoi, go to Ho Chi Minh, right? Go to Singapore, go to Jurong, for example, for all I care, right? But like my point is that like you have to spend time. You have to dedicate time and actually embrace it and everything, because I think like even Calvin, you took a while to decide that you're gonna be here. It didn't just happen overnight, right? Same thing as well. So it also takes a bit of time and everything. And I think one of the things that also was brought up is that we need that shining light. We need that success story. And there are success stories, right? There are a lot of success stories. It's just that Zane's right. We do a terrible job of shilling ourselves. We do a terrible job of flexing ourselves and saying that, look, we've built this and everything like that, right? And to a certain extent, even ARCs, we are at fault of that, right? We do a lot of amazing things. That's why you guys haven't sold your memberships yet, but we do a terrible job of letting the world out there know because we are a private group and everything, but maybe we should do more.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the funding in the Web3 projects in Southeast Asia. So do you guys have any strategies do you recommend for how to get the funding for the Web3 projects in this region? Anyone else have something?
Well, I know Cleverse just opened up their venture arm, so I know that that's like a brand new within the last 2-week thing. So like, then this is based here in Thailand. So did you want to talk about that a little bit? I know they just it's like very like not super known yet.
Yeah. So we work closely with Cleverse here in Thailand as one of our local partners. They have been one of the teams that we're really proud of as we're talking about the conversion of Web 2 talent over a Web 3. It's hard to get people to leave cushy jobs. I would say Cleverse is one of the teams that took the chance with us to try to build more stuff on chain. And so we convinced them to fully focus all of their efforts into Web 3 about a year ago. And then I would say now this ventures arm is one more step for them to double down what they're seeing in the ability for us to take some of the projects that they do global as part of what you mentioned with regards to the bridge effect that we want to see. So overall, I think it ties a lot to what Walter said earlier about the beauty of crypto is it doesn't really matter per se where you're from or what you have based yourself in, but rather the connections, the dots that Gabe was mentioning earlier. Like if you be a part of the communities that you're in and leverage those relationships and bring value to the people that you work with on a day-to-day, right? I think that's one of the beautiful things that we've been also lucky enough to establish with local partners here. And then I think, as a launch pad and recently with the node sales and ARC participating in these node sales as well.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Not financial advice. But in general, I think one of the beautiful things is that for us with, the technology that we have is we're able to fundraise from global efforts. And I think in our most recent case of Aether, a project also based here in Southeast Asia, to have them be able to raise more than $100 million directly from smart contracts and from the likes of users, VCs, angels, collectives, syndicates, whatever it might be. I think we're starting to see, again, this type of now moment for us to use blockchain to put all of these communities and all of these funds and all of this community together, right? So yeah, really excited to see that to continue to grow. We're seeing, obviously, Shard Lab, our wonderful organizers as part of this, coming from Korea and Hashed, come and do even more here in Southeast Asia and the emerging markets here. So yeah, I think this momentum is just continuing to grow and grow.
I have a question. So like, where are a lot of the projects being like sort of like seeded here in Southeast Asia, like actually receiving their funding from? Is it venture funds? Is it angels? Like, is it okay?
I think a lot of it happens. I should probably not say this. A lot of it comes from angels, collectives, simply because the network effects, right? There's more value, right? No offense to any VC out there, but like, I think VCs play a very important part in the ecosystem. But when you're raising your first round and everything, it's about the network effects.
You're eventually going to become a VC, I can tell.
Fuck off. No, please don't say shit like that.
I think it's a good mix. Eventually, like the angels and VCs, it's a good time right now. There's more and more of angels and more VCs.
No, I just think that angels, right, in general, especially in Southeast Asia, you bring more value, right? At the end of the day, what's more important, right? It's literally the people that are investing in you and the people who are giving you the money, they have a vested interest as well, right? They have a vested interest to pump their bags, right? They have a vested interest to turn profit, right? That's why we invest in the space, right? The core utility of crypto is that we're all here to make money, right? We just want to do it the right way, most of us, right? But my point is that the most important thing is that therefore I will open up my networks because there's skin in the game, right? I will introduce to Zane, to Calvin, right? To Chase, anybody else, because I've vested interest. I invested interest in you to succeed. A VC invests in 200 companies, right? And that is their responsibility, in my 2 cents, right? Your responsibility is to spray and pray. That's what you raise LP money from. And all you need is just 10 out of that 200 to mega blow up and everything like that. You get a fucking 100x and you look like a fucking genius, all right? Right? I'm not saying the thesis is wrong, but that's what the VCs, if I was a VC, that's what I would do in the space, right? But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, like, one thing that I've noticed, because like Solana Foundation and sort of been spun out now, we run 2 global hackathons a year. $600 million in VC funding has been raised out of these in the last 3 years. But like this was primarily coming out of like US and Europe until like Solana started to grow its presence outside of that. But one of the biggest things that we've seen is like a lot of the younger talent, like you're sort of pushing developers to become founders. They have no skills. Like nobody actually has the skills to be a founder. It's sort of just, less than 1% of people have the grit or even want to do that. So like we need some like education and mentors, like founders networks for these up and comers to know like, okay, I built this really awesome thing. What the hell do I do now? Like just get destroyed by some VC who gives me bad advice, or like, do I need a marketing team? Because you start to see the team construction, like not just in Southeast Asia, but on Web3 in general. It's just like 5 devs. There's no operations. There's no marketing. It's just 5 devs that are just insane.
They don't even know how to do payroll, for example.
So I think this is a big challenge for like all of Web3 to overcome. And like, I think more so, like maybe not more so, but like equally as so in Southeast Asia.
I had no work visa when I was at Binance. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone Kelvin has no visa. Sorry.
Thanks a lot for reminding us, Chase, like as what blockchains can do, like you're from Solana, and for BNB chain, we try to provide the supports that they need. So just to share a little bit, like for funding wise, like we do incentive programs or some grants, and eventually maybe incubator programs with Binance Labs and CoinMarketCap to bring more exposure to investors. Like so that includes angels and VCs to like help the project in building up their runway to bring the product. So I think that's good. Just to share.
Okay, thank you guys for the very, very insightful answers. So I think that the time is not permitting us to talk more. So so as I conclude that, how to strengthen the foundation of the Web3 growth in Southeast Asia, I think it's about the collaboration across sectors to leverage the blockchain for the social empowerment and stuff. So I would like to thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
everyone.
audience.
Thank you.
Thank you for not falling asleep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.